Said I'm taking big shots, just stop. Where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. They been trying to get me cheap like a thrift shop, but I told them it's my time, check the wristwatch. They been talking way before they even doing something. Whoa. If they wanna play, let's get a tip off. Ain't no silver lining, dawg, this some rose gold. Getting new money, I'm a old soul. Yeah, I get it bouncing like a pogo. Whoa. And I'm too cold like Frozone. And my chick elastic, girl. Told him we ain't in the faking, this ain't plastic, girl. Bought a new whip and cash, now my taxi thorough. Way I'm shooting like step with my passes, bro. The way I'm playing the field, I'm in a league of my own. And now they all in their fields, I got them all on my phone. But dog, I'm hitting the climb, I got no time on the low. Way I'm shooting is messy, the way I'm hitting the goals. I'm taking big shots, just stop. Way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. I just left, but you know I'm coming back though. Whoa. And you know I don't play by my rags though. Now go and turn it up to the max, whoa. Send a paper to me now like a fax, whoa. Yeah. Got 2 phones ringing up the hood now. When I'm in the city, I get looks now. I was going bad, but I'm good now. Said I had to go and put my foot down. Told him I'ma get it and go. Even in the summer, man, they knowing I'm cold. I got a couple checks coming that I made out the flows. Might get a couple more popping if I do it some more. I gotta do it for real. Said I'm back in my bag. All my digits are climbing just like they all on a dash. And they tell me slow down cause dog, I'm moving too fast. Might go and cop me a Tesla cause dog, I still got a gas. Said I'm taking big shots, just stop. Where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. We got a light. We got a light out in the studio. That can't be good. That can't be good for a pump on Bitcoin, guys. But hey, shout out to anybody who was tuned into the live stream last night, guys. We were looking at that low volume gap, looking at that POC / value area low as our key level of support before looking for the big teleportation to the downside, guys. And we indeed have gotten that fast drop to the downside. Is the dump over? Are we going to bounce or are we going lower? We're going to cover it all in today's live stream, and it is going to be a short stream, guys, as every single live stream is short. You guys never know which one I'm going to hop out early on. I'm going to try to do it today. But we got a lot to look at. We got some money flow coming out on the medium time frames. I am schlong. We did take that short in the premium. I talked about it last night as well, taking that short position from the value area high, looking for the drop through the low volume gap. We have now dumped through that gap. Is the dump over, or are we going to bounce? We're going to talk about it, but shout out to the Mafia. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We got stupid Bitcoin in the chat. We're going to turn you into smart Bitcoin, bro. I promise you one day we're going to do it. I promise. Welcome in, brother. Let's see. We got New Earth Guardian in the chat. Welcome in. We got Jesse, Darren holding it down. Tyler Durden in the chat. Show the mod some love, guys. We got Panda the Prophet. What is going on? We got Inked Pirate in the chat. Welcome in. We got a tattooed pirate in the chat, guys. Let's see who else we got. We got Jake from State Farm. Welcome in. He said, here we go again. But yeah, shout out to anybody who was tuned in yesterday, guys. Let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Don't forget to smash the like button. I know no one's going to smash it because price is going down, but do me a favor, guys. Smash that like button. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Here we are, guys. Now, obviously yesterday, if you tuned in, you will know that we were looking at our volume profile here. And quite a what's the word? I don't know. It's Friday, guys. I'm drawing blanks here. But, obviously we were looking at this low volume gap sitting just below this POC of the range. Now, not only was this point of control key support, but obviously we had seen price go from the value area low, flip it into support, push into the POC, flip the POC, and then push into the value area high. And as you guys know, this is where we look for longs. And then this is where we look for shorts within the profile for those full rotations. And I am still holding my long position here, guys. I did lock in a little bit more profit. Got about 2,300 locked in on that. 1,700 still unrealized, guys. And I'm not going to lie, I may actually close this trade, locking in that last little 1,700. And obviously, we did take the short position yesterday as we were seeing those bearish divergences forming here into the value area high. Okay. I did this like 30 times on the premium live stream earlier, guys. I don't know why I keep like clicking off the screen. But here we go, right? Bearish divergences. We were looking at this. Push into the value area high, lower high, or higher highs, lower highs. Money flow comes out. We also had our 16-hour red dot printing with our 1-hour money flow crossover into the red. We had the 12-hour red dot printing with the 45-minute money flow crossover into the red that you could see right here. This does indicate that you are going to see a higher probability of a lower high and a lower low come in. And, of course, we did know, guys, once we lost this point of control, we had this low volume gap underneath. Remember, the high volume nodes act as magnets for price, and then these low volume gaps do indeed give you fast drops to the downside. Not only were we looking for the drop, but we were actually talking about how this would very likely be somewhat of a teleportation. You can see that fast drop to the downside, and that was all based off this very, very simple technique, guys, of spotting these low volume gaps on the chart. And when you have these gaps, of course, we talked about it yesterday, fast move down, fast move up, fast move down, fast move up. If we break down below that POC, not only would you be looking to head your way down towards that value area low, but we know once we push into that low volume gap, it is probably going to be a fast drop down. Look at that 45-minute candle, absolutely teleporting to the downside. Now, is the dump over, guys? Well, when we look at this, when we look at the key levels of support that we are approaching, we are bouncing into some kind of support here. We have tapped into the value area high of our lower range here. And, this is probably the support that we're getting, right? Not only are we getting the support on the value area high, but we're also getting the support on this little shelf of volume, right? So you have the low volume gap sitting right here, right? You have the low volume gap kind of starting right here. So when you look for price to travel through, you're probably going to get the bounce there on the shelf. That is exactly where we're bouncing. And, of course, if you look at it from the lower range perspective, it is also the value area high of our range. Now, I don't know, guys. When we look at the current volume profile, of course, we do have our key level of support that we were looking at yesterday. This was kind of the target for that move down. We were going to look towards our next support level sitting here at the golden pocket, 786 Fibonacci retracement. Let me turn this blue. Bada boom, bada bing. Pull up the daily MPOCs. We do have a daily MPO. No daily MPOC in there. There is a daily MPOC in there. I don't know why it's deleted. Come on, MPOCs. There we go. You guys can see that popping up right here. So you do have the daily MPOC in there. So we do have some confluence within this zone. Right now, obviously, this is based off the fact that we are looking for the golden pocket retest. But you have the golden pocket, the 786, the daily MPOC, and the value area low of the range, which is not loading. There we go. So this zone sitting between about 87.8 all the way down to about 87,822 to 85,926. This is going to be the next key level of support that I'm looking at, of course, within the volume profiles. Again, guys, super, super simple strategy. This is why we love this. We took the long down here, rode it up to the high, still holding a portion of that position that I just showed. And, of course, I don't think I pulled this up. I am also holding the short from somewhere up here. It should say my entry here somewhere. But up about $1,800 on that short from yesterday. Not too shabby. Now, I am going to look to hold this, guys. I'm probably going to lock in some profits as well. But, of course, right, just simply based off the volume profiles, guys, if we're going to see the loss of that POC and price is going to continue to reject that point of control, the next major target is going to be not only the value area low, but we can keep an eye on starting here at that golden pocket at about 87.8. But I will be expecting this level to come in when we take a look at our money flow, guys, something we looked at yesterday as well. Of course, not only did we have the local bearish divergences up here, but we also had the 4-hour larger bearish divergences. And then when we looked at that 12-hour red dot printing with our 45-minute money flow crossing into the red, not only did we have the 12-hour red dot, but we also had the bearish divergence, right? Very, very clear signs that you are going to get a rejection. And then, of course, we know that we have that low volume gap down below. That gives us the confidence to fire on those shorts and say, well, hey, at least we can get a move to the POC. And then once we lose this with these bearish confirmations, very likely to continue to push those down, we know there's nothing holding us up. So you get that fast drop to the downside. Absolutely picture perfect falling through that low volume gap. I was telling the premium Discord, this is a very simple technique that you can use anytime you see these low volume gaps, whether you're approaching from the highs or you're approaching from the lows. Even here, right, you fire through that gap, you break back into it, you rip back up, you break down, you shoot right back down through it. Absolutely beautiful, especially if you're in that short. You can understand that's like, hey, this thing is going to really push into profit. So absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to be remaining patient here, guys, because when we look at the 4-hour money flow, we also talked about with that 4-hour bearish divergence, that money flow wave was starting to come out here. And when you see those 4-hour bearish divergences with money flow also coming to the downside at the same time, it does sometimes indicate that you do have a significant high coming in. So I'm going to patiently wait. Is it impossible to bounce off of the $80,000 value area high and just get the push up from here? Maybe. We don't really have any kind of bullish divergences down here or anything like that. Doesn't mean that you need that. But that's really, like, there's no signal here for me to take the long. We haven't hit the key levels, and we just don't have any confirmations. If we push up, from here, whatever, I'm personally just going to sit on my hands and wait. I'm going to lock in some profits on that short, go into the weekend with some nice locked-in profits, and then maybe I get stopped out of one of the positions, and the other one will just continue to rip into profit. Now, one thing I can see here is if we are going to push down into that golden pocket, 786 value area low, we do have some potential 30-minute bullish divergences looking to form here, right? We already did put in a higher low on our momentum waves. We did not put in the lower low. Maybe we push up, but again, I am always going to wait for those confirmations. Maybe I missed a little push up, but I'm going to remain patient, right? 45-minute also kind of looking to roll over here. If we can get some bull divs into that level, right? Maybe then we can see the bounce. But I'm happy for this to come up, whatever. I'm still holding a portion of the long. So kind of a nice cushy position, right? We're schlong right now, and both trades are in profit, just proving that you can make money whether price goes up or down, and you can literally make money while price goes up or down at the same exact time. This light, guys, is really freaking me out. This is like dark vibes. Hopefully it doesn't add to the dump. But that's pretty much what I'm looking at. Just simply keeping an eye on our volume profile here. So we'll see if we can push into that zone. Again, that 4-hour money flow, we do have our VWAP coming up here. Eventually, if we are going to get a bigger retracement, maybe it happens from here. This money flow continues out. Eventually that green dot could indicate we're going to get an ebb or flow to the upside, but that money flow continues out just like yesterday, right? We saw that 45-minute money flow crossing into the red. We anticipate, sure, can you get a bounce? Yes, but the lower high and the lower lows are going to be more likely. It's the same thing here, but just on the 4-hour time frame. So even if we do get a little retracement here, here, you do have the POC right above you here at about $91,395. Even if we retested that, we could still look for that green dot to push us up, and then maybe that money flow comes out and gives us the lower high and lower low. On the flip side, maybe we flip the POC and just, yeet on off into higher prices, which of course I will stop out, hopefully, unless we do it in one Lambo candle right now. I'll get stopped out in profit on the short. Long will continue to pay us out. But I'm not really interested in new longs or even adding to my long position until we get down into this zone. This money flow does not look that great on the 4 hour. Every time we look at this 4 hour money flow coming out, it's like, well, money flow crosses into the red, right? You can see this right here. Right, we come down, we get a little, some green dots on the 4 hour, you get the bounce, but of course money flow is in the red, so you're looking for lower highs, lower lows. Same exact situation here. So yeah, value area low coming in at $86,348. POC sitting at $91,353. And then you have your value area high here at about 93.6. And of course, the zone of support here on the golden pocket retracement with the daily MPOC comes in between about 87,822 and 85,926. So we'll see what we get here, guys. Just going to simply wait for our key levels to get hit. If it doesn't get hit, we'll push up. And above us, the next major level of support, right? When we come down to this golden pocket, guys, for me to look for a higher low and a higher high, I really need this money flow to come back up. If this is coming out, I'm not going to be anticipating the higher low. I will be anticipating quite the opposite. Lackluster retracement, lower high, lower low. We'll talk about some of the lower support levels in just a second. But let's just say, for some reason, this money flow completely fakes out. We get a rip into not new all-time highs. Definitely not new all-time highs. Above $94,000. Our major key level of resistance remains exactly the same, right? We have the NPOC zone up here right above our value area, and that does sit between about $95,000 and $97,000. So until we push into here or here, I am not really interested in any new trades. I'm just going to let the profit run on whichever one decides to play out. I would say the probability of the short continuing is probably the higher probability at this point. Now, when we talked about this POC, guys, this is not just a point of control. This level is important for more reasons than just that, right? It is also our macro value area low. This was the level that we needed to maintain support on top of in order to see that $95,000 to $97,000 zone come in. And of course, this was the bigger key level of resistance. I would have loved for this to get tapped, but of course, that does not stop us from seeing the bearish indications, seeing the bearish money flow, and firing on another short. I always say, right, price is much higher probability, or it's a much higher probability for price to push into your key levels. Of course, nothing is 100% in trading, but that doesn't mean that you're just going to miss the short necessarily, because when you look at it from a local context, very simply put, you push into the value area high, that's where we look for shorts. We're going to ride that thing down to the value area low. So that's what we're looking at. Key zone of support, key zone of resistance, and money flow not looking super hot here on the 4 hour. So there you go. If we're wrong, we'll just look to come up here, continue to ride that long, and then we'll find some new shorts up here in this zone. With confirmations, guys, if we push up here and there's no confirmations, obviously, we're not going to take the short. We'll just look for higher prices. Long will continue to pay us out. The only thing I can say here, guys, of course, when we look for the low, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, sure, we can continue that structure. 4 hour money flow is not pointing towards that. But the one time frame that does look a little, we'll have to see how it develops, right? 6 hour money flow. This is something we've been looking at. We had this nice big red money flow wave on our downtrend, right? Low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Continuing that downtrend. We finally have crossed into the green here. So if that 4 hour money flow, if we get that green dot on the 4 hour with money flow, this would literally have to just yeet up to the upside. If that were the case, this 6 hour money flow stays in the green. Maybe you can look for the continuation of that trend. I just don't love, if this money flow comes into the red, that 6 hour is probably going to follow suit. So again, I would say probability wise, feeling a little bit more for the lower high and lower low, but of course it's not impossible. And we are positioned for that, right? Long from the lows. So yeah, taking a look at the daily, come up to some of these higher time frames. There is your daily red dot printing. Is that a blood diamond? No. Wow, that does look like it would have been a blood diamond, though, if I'm being honest. Maybe on the Heikinashi candles. We don't have the red dot just yet. But yeah, typically when you see these red dots very close to the zero line like that, it does print a blood diamond. Very nice that it's not a blood diamond, but it is still a red dot. We could check our 90-minute money flow, which is also crossing into the red, which is a market cipher B bearish setup. 1/16th bearish setup, right? Daily red dot, 90-minute money flow crossover into the red. When these happen at the same time, sometimes those lower highs and lower lows are more probable. So we don't even just have it on the 4-hour. We also have it on the daily and the 90-minute until something changes, right? Maybe it fakes out. But of course, just reading the TA here at face value, just like we did yesterday, and we wound up being correct about that, and we were able to make a bunch of money on that. So it's all it's about, guys. We got to make that money, whether price goes up or down. I know it's kind of depressing here to watch price bing bong at these lower prices, but it doesn't stop the mafia from making money. It's the beauty of being a trader. Shout out to Crypto Cray said, I'm edutained. Are you not edutained? Shout out to you, brother. Wow, OG in here. If you don't get that joke, you're not an OG. Let's see. I have a theory saying if you front run a level, chances of melting through it later is high. I hope I'm wrong. Shout out to Lucia. Yeah, we actually talked about that in the premium Discord, right? Just because we front ran these levels doesn't mean, right, like we were looking, saying, hey, like this is really a much preferred level for the short. Of course, doesn't stop us from taking the local trade here, which obviously plays out beautifully. But, you know, it doesn't mean we can't come back up there later on, right? Like these are still naked. These are going to remain on the chart, whether we come up right now or we dump down to lower prices, then come up. Like these levels are going to remain on the chart until they are tapped. So there you go, right? And another key level to get above is, of course, not only the PLC of that local range, but this value area low, right? In order to see that $97,000 level, right, you got to get back above this value area low with money flow coming up, and then that makes that the next high probability target. Until then, this is going to be resistance until proven otherwise, right? And that would be kind of the bearish retest of your point of control and that confluence there on the value area low, right? If you're just looking at the local range, it's like we could easily retrace up to that POC, but if you can't break through it, right, you're just going to look for that overall fill of the volume profile, the very high probability fill of that profile, as we see many times over and over again. But again, you know, it's not just the POC. It's also a major level to get above. You know, you could just bearishly retest that value area low for the bigger drop down. Let's see. Shout out to Julie Kennis. Says, I'll open a long and a short just to be safe. You know, I wouldn't just recommend, right, like going long and short at the exact same time, right, and just wait for one to get stopped out. I know that seems like a pretty good strategy, but at the end of the day, right, if you open a long and a short right here, right, what could happen is it stops you out of the short, stops you out of the long, and then just goes up, right, and then you just get kicked out of both your positions. Might work out sometimes. But I know it seems like I know you're joking, but it seems like a legit strategy, but I would not recommend that, just to be clear. Let's see. What is the local golden pocket that we may reject above in the profile? So there's a few different fibs that you can look at, right? You could pull these to your heart's desire. Your full Fibonacci retracement from the high to the low. No real confluence. I guess you could say this is somewhat confluent with your value area low, right? But, you know, you could also be pulling some of these more local Fibonacci retracements, right, from this lower high or maybe even this lower high. You can pull from this lower high. So, you know, again, it's always going to be the full golden pocket that I prefer. But, you know, when you don't really have good confluence there, it's like if you look for the rejection here, you could just flip the value area low. I don't really see any real legit or like very nice confluence, like maybe this one. Okay, there you go. Never mind. I completely just lied there. So there you go. I mean, maybe you can look at this one, but it doesn't mean you can't reject some of these more local fibs, right? And the way you handle that, people will say, well, if you don't know which one you're going to reject, how do you even deal with that, right? Well, it's like you could look at your local fib. If you don't get your confirmations here for a potential short entry, right, well, then you would just look for this to push up higher. You can then move your fib up to the next lower high, right, and then say, okay, well, maybe we're up here. If you get the signals there, you can look for the rejection. If not, flip the value area low. The only thing here is like, yeah, I just don't really, you know, if you come up here and reject the 786, it's like you're above major support. This is the biggest level of support in my opinion. So if you're going to reject, right, like whether you're looking at the Fibonacci retracement or not, this value area low is the key level, right? Just keep it nice and simple. You come up, bearish retest, continuation down. And of course, before we even look, you know, before I even pay attention to this larger range, right, I'll just be looking at it through the local context, right? At the end of the day, there's your high, there's your PLC, here's your low, right? We could bing bong around. It could be confusing. It could be messy. But more often than not, you do see those value area lows get tapped, right? That magnetic nature of the volume profile. It's why we have confidence, especially when you have money flow coming out like it is right now, right? It's like that's why we come up here. We say, hey, this is overvalued. Money flow is coming out. Not only would you expect, if you're not looking at money flow, to come back into the range and rotate, right? You also have the money flow calling for that as well. So I'll just be viewing it through this context for right now, and then if we get the bigger breakout, we'll start to look at the larger context on the macro profile. All right. Yeah, shout out to Dave says, meanwhile, the 4-hour money flow on the tether dominance is looking across into the green equals more downside for BTC. Yikes. All right, let's see. The 4-hour money flow on Solana looks like a puke fest. Let's go ahead and check in on some of these altcoins, guys. I'll go ahead and jump into Solana real quick just because you mentioned it. Let's check that 4-hour money flow for you. Yep, there you go. 4-hour money flow crossover. Now, of course, we pulled this range yesterday. Where were we yesterday? Yesterday was the 4th. Yeah, so pretty much the same thing as Bitcoin, right? Hanging above that POC. We lose it. You're going to look to go down to the low, and look at that. You are sitting on that value area low. We also had our golden pocket confluence there, so don't get it twisted, right? This is some kind of support. But with our 4-hour money flow coming out, right, it's just very simple. The 4-hour money flow, unless it fakes out, which does happen sometimes, right, but more often than not, it is going to indicate the overall trend. So that just gives me the base idea of if we do get a bounce, it's probably going to be for lower highs for an eventual bigger breakdown. Your next big level of support, guys, you have the 786 sitting here at about 128.17, but just underneath that at the value area low, 125.07. This is the biggest level to remain above. You break down below this, well, you're losing your macro profile, right? And when we zoom out and look at this on the higher time frames, right, it's like we want to stay in this value, right? Now, is it high probability to stay in that value with money flow coming out? Maybe not. But if we do break out of there, I know we have all this daily MPOCs, weekly MPOCs, so we do have some support down there, but I do just want to point out that once you lose that value, right, with high time frame money flow coming out, there's your 5-day money flow crossover into the red. This is really just indicating, let me take off some of these intermediary levels just to clean the chart up so we could see this volume profile a little bit more clearly. Bear with me here. I'm dealing with a microscopic chart. I'll take this. I'll take this. Whoops. Take the box off. Take the local fib off. Right? So when we look at this, it's like, even take these off as well. Right? It's like we want to stay inside this value. If we end up losing this range, guys, you're also going to be losing, right? We're kind of already starting to lose this, or trying to lose this 786. You lose that 786, I'm looking to take out this low at about $96, not 96,000. So there you go, right? We got to stay in this value. If we don't, we're probably going to seek out the next area of fair value, which unless we're going to look at this local range, right, which would be kind of intermediary support, right? We'll probably bing-bong around in this range locally, but the next macro range that we have on the chart here, guys, is pretty much that bear market range down here. I'm not saying you got to make it all the way down there, right? You're going to have this local zone, you're going to have this local zone, but, you know, you really want to stay inside this upper value. We break down, you're going to see lower prices come in, especially with that money flow coming into the red, right? Last time we had a money flow crossover into the red, right? Big drop down, you get the bounce, lower high, lower low, lower high, or just kind of got two little bing bongs there, but much more downside to come there, right? Hopefully it's not the case, right? You know, ideally, you stay inside this profile, you rip above the POC, and you just work your way back up through the profile. But I just have to warn against that, right? In order to see this fulfill, you would really want this money flow to be in the red, crossing into the green. We clearly have the opposite of that happening right now. So there you go. But nice to see the local support hold up that we looked at yesterday, or at least trying to hold up. So there you go. And even the resistance we looked at a couple of days ago at the POC, right? And now we're just kind of forming this little mini range. Very similar to Bitcoin, right? It's all the same stuff. Everything's pretty much following Bitcoin. Let's take a quick look at Ethereum here. Now, Ethereum, I do have a new kind of, I tried to start building, where is my... let's see here. Okay, so I did start building out a new chart here on Ethereum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pulling the volume profiles on the higher time frame. So we'll pull this. You know what? Actually, let me take a look at this chart, right? We'll just keep an eye on this chart. This is what we were looking at yesterday. We're still inside the profile here, guys. If we do put in a new high, the biggest level of resistance is going to be about 33.58. That's the POC of the range. You know, your hope here, if you look at the 12-hour, your 12-hour money flow is attempting to come up here a little bit. But again, you got your red dot printing. You got your daily VWAP looking to print that red dot as well. So not really a huge update here, right? Like you're still above your key level of resistance. You know, if you could stay inside the profile, it'll keep the doorway open to the POC. But when we look at that 4-hour money flow coming out just like on Bitcoin with the very similar confirmations of those bearish divergences, right? There's your higher highs. There's your lower highs. Money flow rolling over. This does indicate that it could be potentially a significant high. So if we dump back down, I will be looking at this value area low, sitting at about 28.91. If we pull our Fibonacci retracement from the low to the high, you can see we do have confluence there. So I will be looking at this as the next important level of support sitting down here, right? We lose that 786 at the end of the day, right? We're looking to break down the lows. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So you got to hold this above the 786 at 28.29, but more ideally, you hold the golden pocket at about $2,900. So there we go. Somebody said, let's see. Somebody said, oh my God, what is going on with this? This is wild. I don't know what's going on here. This is interesting. Luna just going nuts. 2025 was an absolute joke. Shout out to DK Insight. I feel you, brother. I feel you. At least for the altcoins, right? Bitcoin obviously getting, the bull run, right? Just not what a lot of people expected, right? Assuming that, the top is in, right? If it's not, well, maybe we still have some time to put in new all-time highs. It's obviously not my base case here. But yes, I know this is mostly disappointing for the altcoins, obviously. I feel your pain, brother. I feel your pain. I mean, we even talked about this, we talk about this almost every stream, right? Like the social interest here came nowhere near to what it was in 2021, right? Like there's just like no retail interest in this entire bull run. We had a little spike up here. We had a little spike up here. But even these big spikes into new all-time highs were like nothing compared to what we saw back here in 2021, right? If you look, it's like social interest, super euphoric, less interest at the second top. We go into the bear market. The interest kind of looks like this. Nobody cares, nobody cares, nobody cares. And then we got little interest, and it's like still nobody cares. We never saw that massive euphoria. And I'm not going to talk about the long term and I've explained so many times what we can look for if 2026 does end up being a bear market. What we could anticipate, maybe it's not a 70% drop to the downside. Maybe we can look for some kind of a muted bear market to come in to retest between about 70 and, the mid 50s. And then, if they replace Chair Powell with somebody much more dovish, maybe they start turning on the money printers. We could see a shallower bear market that ends a little bit earlier. Of course, it's impossible for me to make any predictions on that. We have to come down to these levels, and we need time to go by. We need more information to make a legit call on that. But just to give you an idea, right? Like it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go for that 70% dump down to 30K, right? Hopefully that's not the case. That's what you would expect if you're expecting the traditional 4-year cycle to play out again, which, this can change, right? It's not to just call for this time to be different because we want price to go up. But at the end of the day, if they wind up turning on the money printer and the stock market melts up, we will expect Bitcoin to eventually follow that as well, right? Money printing is good for risk on assets. That is like a binary fact. So if that happens, I would expect it to be different because we have actual information to suggest that it's different. But if you look for the traditional bear market to play out, right, you're probably looking for something more like a drop down to about 30K, 40K to bottom out in around October of 2026, right? And it would just, I was saying in the premium Discord, it would just be so poetic if we could get that drop down to 50K and it winds up being in like May and they turn on the money printer, right? Because we'd be coming down to major levels of support on our value area from this previous range. It would also be a retest, essentially, of the previous all-time highs. And, if that is going to be a shallower bear market and we're just going to kind of put in a bottom here and then, they replace Powell and, like, they start turning the money printers on, like, maybe it's a little bit of a muted bear market. But, again, impossible for me to say that's definitely going to be the case. We have to wait to get down here. I'm not going to make the call right now. But just two things to look out for, right? Like, the biggest levels, if we get big drops to the downside, are going to be between 70 and 54, between about 70 and 60K. Of course, deviations below that low could be possible. And then once we start breaking below those levels, we could start to look, say, maybe this is going to be a traditional 4-year cycle bear market. But hopefully it's not, right? Hopefully we could see the early bottom come in at. Not calling for it necessarily. Once we get closer, we can kind of look at the probabilities of that actually being the case. So there you go. That would be awesome. Yeah, shout out to Ether. I mean, that's obviously the, at that point, it's like, we're not too far off of those levels, right? It's like it would be another from here it'd be to the top here, it'd be another 19%, right? Like that's like not even a big deal for Bitcoin. Even if you go to the bottom of the range and deviate, it's another 40%. I know that feels brutal, but it's like, it's not going to last forever, right? Like the moves down are not going to last forever. And of course, it might not just be down in a straight line. We're going to have retracements, hopefully. But, the retracement into the 50-week moving average, which still sits at about $102,300, which we have seen in past cycles, right? Those retracements into the 50-week moving average. If we are going to see something like that again, at the end of the day, the biggest level to remain above is going to be the value area low, right? Which sits right here, right? So you got to get above here. If you can't get above here, it's going to be really hard to get that retracement. We do not want to come up and just reject that value area low. Major resistance, 91,000. Call it 91. I'm going to call it about $91,200. And let's see here. Go down to a lower time frame. Yeah, just kind of bing-bonging around here. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some kind of a bear pennant. Not that I would really pay attention to that, but we'll see. Shout out to Aziz, said, Frankie, should I consider the 1/16th setup of bigger time frames than the smaller ones like the 90-minute and the daily over the 4-hour and the 15-minute? Which one do you take more seriously than others, or do you consider them or you consider what the most say? Shout out to Aziz. I think I get what you're saying. Any higher time frame confirmation is going to hold more significant relevance, right? Or it's going to be a stronger signal, right? Like if I have a daily and a 90-minute, that is going to indicate a much bigger downtrend than like a 4-hour and a 15-minute. Maybe not that much bigger, but like, so we also look at things like the 1-minute money flow crossover for lower time frames, right? If you get a 1-minute money flow crossover with a 15-minute red dot, it could indicate that 1-minute money flow crossover is indeed going to give you a continuation of that downtrend. Now, a 1-minute downtrend like this, just to measure this one out, you can see ends up being at the size of about 0.49%. Right? But when you look at a 4-hour, 15-minute money flow crossover, right, or a 45-minute and a 12-hour, like we were looking at yesterday, you could see this money flow crossover, which happens right here, right, winds up giving you a much more than 0.49%, right? It gives you a 5% drop to the downside. So the higher the time frame, the stronger the signal, right? Just with anything, honestly. Just like support and resistance, right? Like a 1-minute support level is going to be much less significant than a daily support level, if that makes sense. So hopefully that helps you out. Let's see. I can't wait to buy more cheap Bitcoin. Shout out to Panda the Prophet. That is the other thing too, right? Like a lot of people, if we do go into a bear market, right? If this does wind up getting worse, and of course, like even if we get a bigger retracement, it can still get worse. If that does wind up being the case, whether we come down from here or get the bigger retracement first, just understand, guys, like when you start to flip from, oh my God, like now I'm not going to get rich in this bull market, and you just start to look at it instead of like that, you start to look at it as an opportunity, right? Maybe if you're not well positioned here and you were buying up at these higher prices, which of course I scream from the rooftops, like, is this the best time to buy Bitcoin? Absolutely not, right? Most people will say, what are you talking about? We're bullish. We're pumping. Why would you not buy Bitcoin? It's like you don't want to buy the top, right? You don't want to buy, even if it's not going to be the top, you're better off waiting for some kind of a significant pullback to buy. Now, though, when you could flip your mindset to understand that, like, all right, well, maybe I was just like caught off sides here, right? But when you look at the bear markets as an opportunity, right? Like, let's say you round-tripped, right? Let's just say you round-tripped 2021, right? Instead of being like, this is a scam, I hate this, and then leaving, and you start to pay attention to the bear market as an opportunity to get positioned better and much more, to get a much better position for the next bull market, this is where you want to pay attention to. This is where the opportunity is. Everyone thinks this is where the opportunity is, right? They think, we're pumping. Now Bitcoin's a good opportunity. No, right? I mean, not that you can't make money on this, but it's like the opportunity is when price is going down. It's when you're in the bear market. You want to be buying low and selling high, not waiting for new all-time highs and then getting interested in Bitcoin and buying at the highs. That's what most people do. If it's your first cycle, it's almost a rite of passage to wait for everything to get excited, buy in, and then regret it later on. Now, people always ask me, is this a good time to buy Bitcoin? Well, it depends on your timeline, right? It's like, if you wanted to pick up, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to do, but like in my opinion, right? If you wait for price to come down here and you want to nibble a little bit at it, understanding that maybe you go down more, then you can start to nibble a little bit more at your next key levels of support. And you buy, and you buy, and you buy, you have the average entry price. Your average entry price starts to move down. You get a little bit of a better entry. Now, me personally, I would not be looking to buy Bitcoin down here. It's not that you can't come back up. It's just for me personally, with the way the charts look like, it looks like we're going to continue down, right? So, but it doesn't mean that if you buy Bitcoin here, you're an idiot, right? Like, in my opinion, right, for your long-term spot bags, you never just want to go all in at one price, right? Like in 2021, I dollar cost averaged in. We have very specific strategies that we follow to dollar cost average in the bear market, and we also have signals that we look for to indicate when it's a good time to buy in the bear market. Hint, hint, weekly money flow crossovers into the red, and if we see this money flow crossover, we're going to get a green dot here hopefully soon. Maybe that gives us a retracement. And then, once that money flow crosses red and we start to get like big capitulations down, that's typically where I start to nibble in on Bitcoin. At the end of the day, for me personally, the way I'm positioned, I do still hold some of my Bitcoin. So if we did rip up from here, I am still partially exposed to the market. But I did have to protect myself up here in case we do see all these charts play out for more downside. DCA is the way. Yeah, shout out to Kasim. That is definitely, for long-term spot bags, like, 12 to 14K was my prediction, right? But that was really just the area I was looking for bottoms to form. I'm not saying that when we're up here, price has to go to 14 to 12K. I'm just saying that's kind of the zone that I'm going to be paying attention to, right? 14 to about 12K. Right? Now, once we start getting close to that level, we do our analysis and we say, well, hey, we're about $17,000, $15,000. We're starting to approach the previous all-time high. I don't have it on this chart because there's not enough price history, but we did have the top here, right? Close to like $20,000, right? You start to play with that previous all-time high, and then you start, this is where we're looking for the confirmations, right? Well, what do we have here? Weekly money flow is in the red. That tells me that it's not a bad time to start dollar cost averaging in. If you buy up here and you dump again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? You could just dollar cost average. And if we went down to 12K, I would have kept dollar cost averaging in. I don't wait to dump my whole bag in here. I think that's what a lot of people do. They wait for the pump, and then they just dump their bag in. And then they go, oh my God, they might panic sell this, and then it goes back up, they panic buy again, and like this cycle was super painful for people, right? Because people buy the top, sell the bottom, bought the top, only to go into the full-blown bear market. Absolute scam fest. But, it's all about having the key levels, waiting for price to come down, waiting for the indications, and then just looking for those bottom signals to form, which we did get here on the weekly. What happens? You put in the weekly bullish divergence, you get back above, you push into our upper range here that we had, and then the bull market continues, right? Or the new bull market starts. So that's kind of how I view it, right? I'm not just going to say, like, I'm not, even back here, I wasn't saying, like, wait for $15,255 and then buy, right? I would never tell you where to buy anyway, right? But I would never do that personally, right? It's always a dollar cost average. So there you go. Shout out to Level said, why not the 9.8K CME gap? They were saying that last cycle, right? And again, just like in bull markets, the bears and the bulls get wrecked every time, right? Pigs make money, hogs get slaughtered. People were calling for 8K here, 9K, CME gap, right? That does not guarantee that CME gap is going to get tapped, right? Doesn't mean it's definitely not going to get tapped, right? Well, we've never seen a bull market top, right? Maybe we see like a depression style type dump, and then that breaks us below the previous bear market lows. Not necessarily what I'm expecting. But yeah, it's like, people were asking me that last cycle. Why are you not looking at the CME gap at 9K? Well, it's very clear, right? Like the reason I wouldn't look for that is because we were hitting massive support with massive weekly bullish divergences, right? So once that forms, there's your bull div on the weekly. Your money flow starts shuffling back into the green. As soon as that money flow fakes out into the green for the first time, every cycle, that means the bottom is in, and you're ready to continue your massive uptrend, right? So at that point, once you see those bull divs into your key level of support, right, we're not expecting that 9K CME gap. I was never expecting it. So, it's even harder for me to expect that now, right? And it's really crazy, right? Like people scream at the top of their lungs, you idiot, not 9K, 8K CME gap. And it's like, maybe, right? But like, I can't really call for that until you break all that support and these signals don't play out, right? And then you start getting closer, then you can start to look for the 9K CME gap. But guess what? All those bears that were looking for 9K, 8K, right? Like they get wrecked because they're not buying here. They think there's still a massively bigger drop to come. But there's the signals for the continuation up, right? It's like once you see that stuff happen, there's no reason to expect those prices. It's not that they couldn't come in, but once that signal prints, it's much lower probability that you're going to see that come in, right? And that's why that's why I like to dollar cost average, because at the end of the day, if I started dollar cost averaging in here, we get another big drop, just continue to dollar cost average. Now your entry goes from here to like somewhere in the middle, right? You're never going to snipe the bottom. I mean, if you do, there's a big element of luck to that, right? I looked for, 14K. Very close to where we bottomed out, right? But I was not expecting to tap that level perfectly, right? So it's always like set the traps, the areas of interest, look for the confirmations. If you don't get the confirmations that support, you would expect it to break, so you look for the lower prices. But if you see those confirmations, then you're always going to be looking for the bounce. So yeah, I would not be personally expecting the 9K CME gap. At least, definitely, at least not right now, right? Maybe if we get some kind of like crazy, yeah, it'd be insane, right? I'm not saying it's impossible, but I mean, 9K, that'd be a 92% drop. Pretty wild. Maybe we can look for that once we start breaking like major support. I don't think we see 50K in this bear market. Yeah, I mean, listen, if we bottom out at 70K, 50K would indeed not come in. Shout out to JR Ford. What is going on, bro? Welcome in. Good to see you in here, brother. I feel like it was just yesterday. Yeah, shout out to Link Marine. Yeah, it goes fast, guys. I mean, like, yeah, and I think a lot of people feel like it really has happened really fast just because, everybody, it feels fast from expecting the bull market to start down here. It feels like that went by fast. People buying up here, they're like, what the heck? I bought in and it did nothing but go down. But it has a lot more to do with the entry, right, that you took. So, anyway. If Satoshi sells his BTC, then we could see 9.5K. Yes, yeah, I would agree. 92K, yeah, 92% drop. Yeah, that'd be insane. That's not what I'm expecting. With the weekend volume, can Biddy dance around 86K to sleep safe with the short open? Shout out to Lucia. To be honest, I'm gonna sleep comfortably with my short open anyway, right? Because once you move that stop loss to break even, and again, I'm probably gonna lock in some profits here as well. But stop loss at break even, it's like you're gonna be pretty well protected there, right? You got all this resistance if you continue down, and even so, right? If it comes out and stops you out, you're gonna get stopped out in profit. If you're taking profit and moving your stop loss, of course. If you're just kind of taking the short here with no stop loss and it rips up, right? You're at risk of losing a ton of money. But I'm positioned in the long. Profits locked in. 1,700 unrealized. And then I'm also holding the short as well, right? Up 2K. So, yeah, comfortable position to be in. Yeah, imagine, 92K drop. And again, right, like I can't say it's impossible, right? But like, is it impossible for Bitcoin to just Lambo candle to $1 million? I guess not. Is that probable? Probably not. So, yeah, 41K bottom, SpongeBob, 41K bottom, SpongeBob, just a guess. Yeah, maybe we should, I did draw a whole bikini bottom chart drawing recently. Maybe we'll draw a pineapple here, and we'll start drawing a little SpongeBob scene, and we'll just have it live down here. And if Bitcoin comes down there, it'll be like, bikini bottom. Anyway, shout out to Epidemic, says, met somebody today who bought 6K BTC in 2017, forgot about it, and missed the 2021 bull run completely and just now sold. Woo-hoo-hoo! Nice move. Honestly, I think it's somewhat a good thing, right, to just, like, completely forget about your Bitcoin, right? Like, imagine if he had, if he was in at 6K, and he missed all this and saw it dumping and he found it, like he might have wound up selling down here only to have it rip up. So it's kind of nice that he didn't have access, right? And that's why sometimes during like big capitulations, guys, when the exchanges go down, it's actually happened, I believe, on this drop here, like Coinbase locked up and you couldn't get onto your exchange. Sometimes that'll save your butt, right? Because like price dumps and like you can't get onto the exchange and you just can't panic sell. It's sometimes helpful, all right? Because like if you could watch this and you have the ability to sell, like not saying that it would have been a bad idea like to sell before this drop, but like anytime price goes down in a straight line like this, like no matter what, in my opinion, right, or in my experience, it's always worse to sell on the drop. You want to at least wait for some kind of a retracement, even if this was a lower high before a lower low, right? Like you're going to be better off selling a little bit higher than just panic selling the red candles. It's the same thing with the longs and the shorts. Like if price dumps like this, I'm not looking for a short down there at the bottom of that candle. I got to wait for some kind of a retracement to look for the short, even if it's this little retracement here for a short. Same thing with buying and selling, right? Like you don't necessarily want to panic sell on a big red candle. You want to wait for those retracements. Problem is it gets very emotional and very scary to, because that retracement's not guaranteed. So it's very sketchy. Let's see. SpongeBob trying to escape that Krusty Krab life now. Shout out to DK. Shout out to Valo, said, cheers, enjoy your show and the insight. Shout out to Valo. Welcome in, brother. Smash that like button. You might be the only one to do it. People, and I'm never going to come up here and just say, guys, don't worry, massive move up just for a bunch of likes. I said this yesterday and the day before. Like, thank God, right? Like, I was taking arrows here talking about getting accepted back into our, not this profile, but our lower profile and getting this big drop down towards about 91 to 92K. People hated that, right? Like, this is really where, like, the attention starts to simmer down, right? People don't like hitting the like button. What is this guy? I hate this guy. He's saying price is going to go down. But I am always going to come up here and share raw information-based analysis. I wanted price to bounce here. But when the chart doesn't call for it, I can't just come up here and say green candles so I can get a bunch of likes on my videos. It's irresponsible, in my opinion, if you have a community of people that watch you to just like lead them to slaughter so they click the like button. And I just hope that when people understand that we're honest, right? Like looking at that low volume gap yesterday, saying that we could get that big teleportation candle down, right? People don't want to hear that, right? But I hope that, people seeing us just kind of talk about the raw information and, more often than not being on the right side of the moves, they hit the like button for the honesty, right? And the transparency and the, what's the word? I don't know the word, right? But just like not just giving FOMO, right? For my benefit to grow my YouTube channel, right? I'm not going to wreck people for that. It's immoral, in my opinion. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Respect. Shout out to King Credible. Appreciate you, brother. Hey, Frankie, what is the logic behind a small and large time frame ratio 1/16? Shout out to Super Prama. I'm sure I didn't say that correctly. But the idea, right, at least the way I look at it, is just the fact that when you look at high time frames versus low time frames, right? Let's just say take a daily red dot, for example, right? Well, let me actually, I'm going to cherry pick a clean example here just for explanation purposes. So let me see here. So here's your daily red dot. Let me see if we had a 90-minute money flow crossover here. So there it is, right? You have the daily red dot printing. Now, when you have a daily red dot, right, I always explain this as simple as possible. The red and the green dots on Market Cipher B indicate the ebbs and flows. Green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot. The money flow indicates the overall trend, right? Now, when you have a daily red dot, although could maybe only be an ebb or a flow, right? Maybe it's just this, little ebb to the downside, or maybe even just this little ebb to the downside. On the 90-minute, the money flow crossover, when these line up, right? That money flow crossover is oftentimes the signal that either starts the bigger move down or tells you that you can look for lower highs and lower lows. Lower highs, lower lows. Lower high, lower low. Lower high, lower low. Lower high, lower low. Lower high, lower low, right? So it's just looking at that like daily red dot. Like on the daily, a little ebb or flow to the downside can be something like this. But on a 90-minute, it's going to look, that little move is going to look like a big trend, right? Lower highs and lower lows. So they just line up, right? And the 1/16, I didn't invent this. I think CryptoFace invented this. I guess he didn't invent it, right? It's just basically multi-time frame analysis, right? It's not like some kind of like secret thing. But it plays out absolutely beautifully. So like almost any 1/16, there's like not many that I don't look at, right? Like I said, like the 1 minute and the 15-minute. That's a 1/16 strategy. Technically the 16-minute, right? But the 15 minutes close enough. So like even if you look at it from a lower time frame perspective, let me see if I can find a clean, right? So here's your 1 minute money flow crossover. Did you have a 15-minute red dot there? Where'd it go? All right, there's your 15-minute red dot, right? So it's going to be hard to, it's like there's your 15-minute red dot printing. You go down to the 1 minute, and I actually put it in a bar replay mode so you can kind of see it, right? So you're looking at the chart, and you're saying, like, what's going to happen here, right? Because it's always easy to look at in hindsight. But when you're looking at this, you could be saying, like, oh, my God, massive support, right? We're going to bounce, moonshot, all-time highs, right? Maybe not all-time highs. But, you're saying to yourself, I have a 15-minute red dot looking to print, right? Well, if that's going to give us some kind of ebb or flow to the downside, let me see what my 1 minute money flow is doing. My 1 minute money flow is starting to teeter out here a bit, right? Is this bearish divergence? Not really. It's more like an exaggerated bearish divergence. But your 1 minute money flow, you could say to yourself, well, hey, if this 15-minute red dot is going to print, and that 1 minute money flow is in line with that, this 1 minute money flow crossover could continue the downtrend, right? So I'll just move this forward a little bit, right? Now you're looking at it. Okay. So your money flow is coming out. See if that 15-minute red dot is printing yet. It's getting close, right? It's getting close. It's almost there. VWAP is coming down. 1 minute money flow is coming out. So I could say to myself, those are lining up if they happen at the same time. Because if you have a 15-minute red dot printing and your 1 minute money flow is coming up, maybe it's not going to be a big trend. Maybe that 15-minute red dot's going to be a little, and then you continue the bigger trend. But once that 1 minute money flow crosses over into the red, right, now you're looking at it. Now it's really coming out. Your 15-minute red dot's probably printing. Oh, not quite. Not quite. Still there. Right? 1 minute is now crossing over into the red. There's your 15-minute red dot. Now I am anticipating either this to be the lower high or any kind of bounce we get. I mean, you already have the red dot looking to print, so I would expect this to be the continuation of a downtrend. Look at that. Even barely retested this random line that I drew. That meant nothing. But there you go, right? There's your bounce, your lower high, your lower low, lower high, lower low. And the trend continues. Right? Look at that money flow wave. Money flow indicates the overall trend. You want to trade with the trend. Right? So if you're looking for shorts, even on this 1 minute bounce to the upside, you have your money flow coming to the downside. Right? This is free sauce, guys. You have your 1 minute money flow starting to trend out, and you're saying to yourself, do I want to long this 1 minute green dot, or do I want to short the bounce? Well, if you have that 15-minute red dot coming in and this money flow is coming out, you would be looking for this to be, right, money flows coming out, indicating the trend will continue down. You're looking for the lower high. So that green dot is not, oh my God, moonshot, right? And of course, this is a low time frame. Nothing on the 1 minute would make me think moonshot. But you might say to yourself, this green dot might give us a bounce, but I'm looking to fade that bounce. Why? Because I want to trade with the trend, not against the trend. And if the trend is saying we're going down, I am better off looking to fade the bounces to ride that eventual money flow crossover into the red. Does that make sense? And then, of course, you would have to find your key levels of resistance. I don't know exactly what we rejected here. I'm not going to try to pretend I did. All right, maybe you pull your Fibonacci retracements. You have one right here at about 91,135. You could even pull some of your lower retracements. Maybe it's here at about 90,992. But we'll just see how high we came up. Right, there you go. You push right into that golden pocket. This would be the zone. You have your value area high, 786 POC. That would be the high probability area to put in a lower high. So do I want to long this for a breakout of the profile and a big move down, or a big move up? Right? Would I be looking to long this value area low for a big breakout? No. I would be looking maybe to scalp that, but I would be looking to turn it back around and get on the right side of the trend to enjoy a much bigger, more profitable move to the downside. And of course, money flow crosses red, right? So what trade would be better there? Would this be the expected move? No, right? Maybe you could long it. I'm not saying you can't long this, right? But you would view that as a scalp before eventually, I mean, me personally, I would probably just be sitting on my hands and waiting, right? Because this is the 1 minute. I don't care about missing this little move. I would just wait for this to pull into the golden pocket, POC, value area high 786 zone, and then look to ride that all the way down. Does that make sense? Hopefully I didn't confuse everybody. But there you go. Little explainer on the 116 strategies. And it works, right? Again, 4 hour, 15 minute, 1 minute, 15 minute, 12 hour, 45 minute, 16 hour, 1 hour, 12 hour, 45 minute. You basically just say, if you're looking at a daily red dot, what's 1/16 of the daily time frame? Well, if you do the math, it's about the 90 minute, right? It doesn't have to be spot on. You're just looking for a high time frame, little signal to line up with the bigger trend signal on the lower time frame. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm explaining that right. Thanks for the explanation. All right. Hopefully, then I guess it worked. Shout out to Super Promo. Happy birthday, Rob. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. It is his birthday, guys. He has a birthday every single day. I don't even think he's in here, is he? Rob? Paging Dr. Rob. Happy birthday, brother, if you're in here. Shout out to Red Man. What is going on, brother? Welcome in. Makes sense, Candles. Shout out to Steven. Let's go, baby. Let's go. So, yeah, guys, that's what we're looking at. Let's come back out of bar replay mode. So we'll see what happens here. We'll watch this daily red dot. Like I said, 4 hour money flow. Coming out, I don't love that, right? And again, it's the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing. Whether you're looking at the 116 strategy or not, this money flow is indicating that the trend is more likely to continue down. Not 100%, right? Does that mean that, oh my God, you have to short, you would short right here? Again, I would never short right here. My short is from up here as price was coming up, right? To be more specific, I didn't catch. We actually talked about this on the live stream while it was happening, but did not take the trade at the high. But what did I do? I waited for a drop down. I waited for a bearish retest of some very specific levels. We had the levels in the premium Discord of where I was looking to start my positions. And it was basically, or not basically, but very simply based off our Fibonacci retracements, right? I had two areas I was willing to take shorts at, right? It was, I can just pull it up in the Discord. Let me pull up my face cam so I don't leak anything here. Just pull it up here. So the two areas that I was looking at was the full Fibonacci retracement from the high to the low, which sits up here. There's no guarantee we come up to that full fib. So I was also looking at this local fib. This is the one we pushed into. I entered a partial position. This is actually not a full position that I'm in on the short. I entered part of the position here. If we pushed up to the full golden pocket, value area high 786, I would have added to that position for the bigger drop down. But of course, we just wound up coming up here and getting the rejection, right? So I didn't catch it at the top. But was I looking for a mega long here for massive moves up? No. Why is that? Well, very simply put, we had our money flow coming out, right? I am not ever going to be looking for a massive bounce against the trend. Am I looking to long this for massive new highs? No, right? I'm actually looking because money flow is coming out, much higher probability of a lackluster bounce, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And we knew we had this low volume gap, which would very likely cause a teleportation to the downside, as we covered yesterday on the live stream, and you see that manifesting in real time. So try to find the, I don't remember exactly the fib that I was looking at. I don't know. I'm not going to find the exact one. It was the one I just showed in the picture. But that's kind of how we do it, right? Why was I not looking to long this for a massive move up? It's because of the money flow. Not every volume profile bounce off the low is going to bring you all the way up to the high. It has to be in context with the money flow. This is obviously calling for a continuation of the downtrend, so we take the short. So there you go. Hopefully that makes sense. That's free sauce. Let's see. Shout out to Sentas. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, what is the best price to open a short? I don't know. That depends, right? There's no, it's not just like as soon as Bitcoin gets to $92,000, open a short. That's not really how trading works. There's just so much more context you need for that, right? What are you looking at, right? Are you looking to trade the 1 minute time frame? Are you looking to trade this tiny little mini range? Right? I'm not saying you should trade this, but I'm just saying, right, like let's just assume this was like a clean range. If you're just looking for a scalp from the value area high to the value area low, well, then you would look up here for the short. But either way, right, there's no level that you would just come up to and say, oh, if we hit this level, take a short. Why is that? Well, because and this is why I don't use limit orders, right? If you push into a key level of resistance, you need an entry confirmation. You need the price to give you a reason to take the short, right? So like when we look at our local range here, that we were looking at yesterday, right? And the day before. This, in the context of this profile, is a place I'm interested in for a short, right? Is that the best place to take a short? Well, in the context of this profile, it would be. But if we came up into this level and there was not bearish divergences, if money flow was not coming out on the 1 hour, right? If we did not have the 1 hour bearish divergence, if we did not have money flow coming out, right? Well, then I probably wouldn't be looking for the short there. If there's no confirmation, there is no trade, right? Trading is not as easy as just finding a key level of resistance and just longing and shorting resistance. Will you win some trades like that? Sure. Or longing and shorting support and resistance. You don't long resistance. Hopefully not. But you have to have the entry trigger, right? So what level is the best level to take a short? I could tell you the levels that I'm interested in for reactions. Well, number one, the value area high. If we rotate this entire range, get the bounce from the low, and we wiggle back up to this value area high, this would be an area I'm interested in for a short. But I would never just set a limit order here to take a short. Why? Well, because if I don't get any entry triggers to take the short, if price is not telling me that it wants to reject here, I want to sit on my hands and expect higher prices. So the biggest levels I'd be interested in if we get the full rotation would be the value area high. And then on a higher time frame, I would be interested in the $95,000 to $97,000 level, right? Might not get up there. But if we did, that's an area that I'd be interested in looking for confirmations for a rejection back down. just like I'd be interested in this level. But if I don't get confirmations here, then I sit on my hands and I wait for the next key level. If I don't get confirmations here, I sit on my hands, I wait for the next level. Maybe I then get the confirmation here. Then I take the short, right? So it's not just as simple as finding a key level of resistance and just taking a short there. I wish trading was that easy. If someone's telling you that, they're lying to you. I'm sorry. But yeah, so it's very difficult, right? Like if you're trading the 1 minute time frame, maybe the best level to short is an SFP of these highs, right? It's just like a very complicated question. It's not as easy as like, where should I short? I can tell you the places I'm interested in, but at the end of the day, if you're just setting limit orders there, you might take the short and get cooked, and then you come back and check in with me, and I'm like, I didn't take the short there. Why? Because I know the confirmation that I'm looking for, right? You have to actually understand how to read price, right, and how to understand when it's a good time to take a trade. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, shout out to McKay. Said, long or short now? Come on, look into your crystal ball. Shout out to McKay. Yeah, it's just what I just said. Shout out to McKay. Sometimes the best trade is no trade, right? That's the thing, right? I always tell people trading is a game of trapping, not a game of hunting, right? If I was not interested in this profile, I wouldn't really be interested in a short until we came up here, right? Or we found new levels. So it's like you want to set your traps and patiently wait for the levels to get hit. If they don't get hit, if you don't get the confirmations, then there's no trade. You don't want to hop on the chart and say, okay, like wake up in the morning, sit down. All right, do I long or short? You might not have a trade, right? You might have to wait to maybe come sweep the low. I'm not saying this is a legit trade setup. I'm just, giving an example, right? Like there just might not be a trade here. You might want to wait for a key level to get hit. You want to come onto the chart and find a setup, right? Trapping, right? It's a game of trapping, not hunting. So you don't want to get on the chart and be like, all right, should I long or short right now? Not how trading works. Common misconception. That's what I thought when I started, at least. I was like, all right, I'm on the chart. I don't know. Red candle, I guess I'll short. It looks like it's going down, right? And I'm not saying you can't do that, right? But, for me personally, right, I might say, I want to see this liquidity get taken up here. If we don't come up and sweep that liquidity, I'm not interested. I'm not saying this is actually what I'm interested in. I'm just saying in general, right? Like you want to actually have the setups, you want to have the levels, and you want to be waiting for price to hit your level, and then you look for your confirmation. If you get the confirmation, then you take the trade. It's not worth it getting chopped up when you don't have a setup, if that makes sense. Shout out to McKay. But the crystal ball says 100x long right now. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. All right, let's see. Shout out to Walking Dead. Said, great advice, Frankie. Do you mind repeating that? Just kidding. Shout out to Walking Dead. But yeah, guys. Shout out to Tony D. Tony D, let's run the giveaways. I do have to hop out of here. But while he's doing that, calling Dr. Tony D, please run giveaways. Code 304, run command line 7. Anyway, so I'm just going to be watching this volume profile. It's like right now. Am I going to long or short right now? No. I'm in a long and in a short, but I'm not interested in a new long. Or I maybe not even a long, right? But I wouldn't be interested in support or entertaining the idea of looking for a long until we come on down into this zone. Doesn't mean you can't bounce here, right? You could still have price come up. If there's no setup, there's just no trade. You just let price go up to your next key level. So I'm interested. The major levels I'm interested in are going to be this box between 87,822 and 85,926. And then for the next significant rejections, I would love to see the 95 to 97K zone. I don't know if that's promised to come in. So, locally, it's either if we remain range bound and we get a bounce here, we could just look to trade the volume profile, looking for the shorts at the highs and longs at the lows. If we do get the breakout, this is your next key zone. I am sitting on my hands, or I should say sitting in my positions, just waiting for the next move. Like there are many a times where like what am I doing here? Am I longing or shorting? There's just like I'm not doing anything. I'm already in my trades. Is this a good place to short? No. The good place to short was up here where we're short, right? As price was coming up, we got the bearish confirmations. Is this a good long? Well, I mean, we are hitting support, right? If I had to look for a trade here, I probably would have to be looking for a long because we've already gotten a move down. But there's no real confirmation here. Doesn't mean you can't go up. Doesn't mean you can't go down, right? I'm just waiting for those key levels. It's very calming, right? Like instead of getting on the chart and like freaking out, put your alerts. Set your trading view alert, right? I'm looking for shorts here. I'm looking for longs here. Whatever happens in here, I don't care what happens, right? It's not until beep, beep, beep. All right, now we look at the order flow. We look at the bearish confirmations. Now I can look for my short, right? beep, beep, beep. All right, now I can look for the long, right? And like this could go on for days, right? Just like sit out of that. You don't need to trade that. Not saying you can't, right? But it's very nice and much more relaxing way of trading. It's like a miserable life to sit there and watch your trade print. And this is a beginner thing, right? People love to just like stare at the 1 minute. Okay, yeah. Like you'll grow out of that as you get more experience, right? There's never, I'm never taking trades unless I'm taking a low time frame trade. I'm not taking this short position, right? And then watching the 1 minute and saying, oh my God, we're pushing up. No. Oh my God, we're pushing up. No. Right? Like I'm taking that trade on a little bit of a higher time frame. I know it's going to bing bong around. I'm just patiently waiting for it to play out. Hopefully that makes sense. There we go. Shout out to Tony D. Quick with the winners tonight. Spaghetti Regretti, Lucia. Shout out to Lucia, Crypto Paisa, Tony Hernandez, Jay Violet. Let's go. I'm liking these winners. Steven, the real K Diggity. Come on, baby. We got the OGs, or the new OGs, I guess, the new age OGs winning the giveaways here. We got Samu, BD Gaming, and Kit Kat Addict. I don't blame you, bro. Those Kit Kats are hard to kick. This is the first time that I've won. What do? Just head to the free Discord. Link is in the description down below. Go to the free Discord and check out the Help Center. Go to the free Discord. Go to the Help Center, and you can claim your prize there. We will not ask you to send us a seed phrase. We'll never ask you to send us money. The only thing we'll ask for is an address, not a seed phrase, not money. Just an address for us to send you money. Be careful of the scammers, but if you go through the Help Center, you should be good. So yeah. Me, oh my God, shout out to Tony Hernandez. Let's go. He said, I had Nightbot running earlier tonight. I got lucky. Let's go. Darren says Discord link in the description down below. And before I let you guys go, don't forget, if you're interested in the premium Discord, we do still have the Cyber Week sale going on here with our discounted prices. Still got some of these 2 years, but we have the discounted annual, biannual, and quarterly subscriptions. Come check it out if you guys are interested. And yo, Golden! Oh my God, shout out to Golden, bro. With the super chat, with the gifted memberships. Let's go. Shout out to Golden dropping the 50 Frankie Candles memberships. Just adding to the giveaways, getting the Mafia, the memberships. Drop those golden emojis if you got access to them again. Spam the golden emojis. Start that golden waterfall. Not a shower, guys. Start the golden waterfall. Golden, what is going on, brother? He's hibernating. He's hibernating here in the bearish price action, but we can't blame him. Shout out to Golden, bro. We love you. Thank you so much. You are infinitely generous, not only to us, but also the Mafia. We appreciate you so much. Come on, golden emojis in the chat. I'm spamming some golden emojis. I want to get in on the fun. Come on, baby. Can't ban me out of the chat for scamming. Spamming. There we go, baby. Imagine I get timed out on my own channel. That would be hilarious. And another 50 Frankie Candles memberships. Golden, you absolute legend. Absolute legend. 100 memberships. Unbelievable. Golden, please, for the love of God, I appreciate you so much, bro. You do not have to do this. I appreciate you, bro. Spam the golden emojis, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, baby. Unbelievable. Sponsored by Golden LFG. This channel is sponsored by Golden's memberships. Let's get it. That's 100 memberships. Golden, we got like bear market numbers here. You might get everybody in the chat there. Come on, Golden. Open up a long. Shout out, says Crypto Paisa. Come on, Golden. Hey, Golden. Hey, maybe just, dump a little bit in, give us a retracement. I don't know. It doesn't hurt to ask, right? Give us a little retracement, push us up to the 50-week moving average. We all know you can do it, brother. Hola and adios. And he's just going to come in, drop the memberships, and poof, he's gone like a magician, like a true legend. We appreciate you, Golden. But guys, with all that being said, in epic ending fashion, Golden coming in at the last moment there. Shout out to Golden, bro. I don't know what to say to you, man. But thank you for being here, guys. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Hold on and watch those key levels we just talked about. Watch that 4-hour money flow. And I don't know. Hopefully we get a bounce to the upside. I'm waiting for my key levels, and I'll keep you guys updated here every single step of the way. With all that being said, that's all I got. Hasta pasta. Have a great weekend. I love you all. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
should have had them 2 belts ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, I can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up from my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right in